Hello everyone, my name is Pamela Pitcher and welcome to my workshop, Creating Your Future Vision with Focus and Clarity. With all of the uncertainty in the world, it's been a good time to take stock of our lives and notice where we are and create a vision for where we want to be. In the recent past, you may have found that your priorities have changed, or perhaps you want to lead a different life, or even maybe that you need to lead a different life depending upon what's happened to you as of late. And what that life will look like will become much clearer for you by the end of this workshop. And we hear from the news that we will soon be living in a new normal, whatever that is. I say step outside the box and go beyond normal. Because I believe we are all born with pure potential, and sometimes things that happen to us outside of our control can knock us a little this way or that way and off our path, if you will. And we can use times like this to reflect and get in touch with that pure potential again. So that's one of my goals for you today. So today I'm going to give you some insights and techniques to learn to train your brain and to think in a way to attain your goals and dare to live the life you've always imagined. So here we go. Everything starts with a thought. There's nothing in this world that was created without thinking about it first. Tim Galloway, the tennis coach and author of The Inner Game of Tennis, says you take two professional tennis players, both with the same physical ability. The one that's going to win always is the one that has the greater inner game. So they both have the same outer game, but one has the better inner game, and that is the one who wins. And sports coaches have known this for years. And then they take their clients, the athletes, through various techniques. A lot of it is visualization and focus so that they actually see the end game in their mind's eye, and that is the difference that will make them become a winner. So in other words, what we focus on shows up. So what do I mean by this? What we experience in life is based on the quality of our thoughts. The quality of our thoughts. So right now, I'd like you to picture an iceberg in your mind's eye. The top that is above the water level, above the sea, that part of the iceberg is our conscious mind. And the amount that's below the water level is our unconscious mind. And that's, depending upon who you talk to, that's about 90-95% of our mind. Now, we go around thinking that we are consciously aware of what we're doing and in full control of what we do. And that assumption is incorrect. It's the unconscious mind that runs the show. We sleep, our conscious sleeps, the unconscious mind never stops sleeping. It takes care of our breathing, our digestion, our blood flow, all of our bodily systems. And it obediently obeys what you consciously program into your mind. It's pretty basic in that way. It's very complex and pretty basic. So what we consciously focus on is so important. So first point I'd like to make, the two most powerful abilities that your conscious mind has is the ability to focus and to imagine. And to imagine what is not real or real yet. These two abilities will tell your unconscious mind how to react. So think of your conscious mind as the captain of the ship, and your unconscious mind as a crew dutifully obeying what they were being told to do. The second point I'd like to make is that the unconscious mind, it doesn't communicate with words. It doesn't understand words. It communicates with feelings, emotions, and through dreams. It communicates with symbols, and the advertising world has known this for a number of years, and that's why we see logos like the tick for Nike and Amazon's little thing and the M for McDonald's. It communicates through feelings, emotions, and through dreams and symbols. So in other words, the conscious mind is our keyboard that programs our mind, and the unconscious mind is the hard drive that receives that programming, and it delivers what we consciously focus on. So if I'm sitting there in a bad mood, thinking all sorts of bad thoughts, negative thoughts, and I'm getting just a bit angry, and then I start to feel more and more angry. And so I get into the spiral of thinking these bad thoughts, bad thoughts, bad thoughts. And then I feel angrier and angrier and angrier. Or I'm thinking about something very sad that's happening, maybe something very sad that's happening in the world, and I start feeling anxiety and fear and sadness. Well, that's because what I'm consciously focusing on is negative stuff. And when I focus on negative stuff, I'll feel bad. Whereas if we focus on good things, like I'm looking out my office window right now, and I have to say, I'm so blessed that I've got a great view of the ocean. The trees are in bloom, it's spring, the flowers are out, And so when I think these kind of thoughts, or think about my wonderful husband, the great friends I have, I start to feel good. I start to feel happy. So when I'm programming my mind, consciously concentrating on positive things, I'll feel good. Concentrate on bad things, you'll feel bad. Concentrate on good things, you'll feel good. It's that basic, and that's right, it works. So in a moment, I'm going to take you through a little experiment which will demonstrate further what I mean. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes while we do this short visualization. Close your eyes and imagine you're holding a lemon in the palm of your hand. Notice what your lemon looks like, how yellow it is. Is it waxy or not waxy? Does it have little dimples on the skin with those little green marks on either end? Just look at it for a while. Is it a small lemon? A big lemon? Take a moment and see everything you can see about your lemon. And now begin to notice what it feels like in your hand. Is it cool to the touch? Perhaps it's been in the refrigerator. Or is it warm to the touch as it's been sitting on the kitchen counter? Notice the texture and the weight of your lemon. Raise the lemon to your nose and smell it. Take in a deep, long breath and enjoy that clean, lemony smell. Put your lemon down on the kitchen counter on top of a cutting board. Imagine taking a knife and cutting it in half. And hear the knife slicing through. Hear the juices squirting. Perhaps they hit you in the face. And the smell becomes stronger and stronger. Take the lemon again in your hand and with your knife cut off a slice. Take the slice to your mouth and deeply bite into it. And let the juice swirl around and around your mouth before you swallow the juice. Now open your eyes. And do you have any extra saliva in your mouth or similar reaction you may get, as though you're actually biting into a lemon? So if you have saliva in your mouth or had a different sensation than what you normally would have. So I have clients who hate lemons. So they typically have a sour face at the end of that thought experiment. Sour face, saliva in the mouth, that demonstrates how powerful our thoughts are. Without a lemon in sight, with just the thought of a lemon, you had a physical reaction. Do you ever find that you're sitting there at home alone and let's pick a scenario. You're thinking about a conversation you have to have with your boss the next day. And so you think about, oh God, how comfortable this is going to be. And you think about what you're going to say and what they're going to say. And you go back and forth and back and forth. And you find yourself getting angrier because they're not understanding your perspective. They always stick up for that other person, and so on and so on. And you just get yourself in a tizzy. And then if you look around, you're the only one in the room. We do that so often. We get ourselves all worked up over something we imagine to be true, and it's not true at all. It's just a story we've created in our mind. So that's what I said before about the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real or imagined. So it's important to imagine well. What you consciously think about is very important. And what you feel, the emotion you feel, is the feedback as to what you're thinking. What you feel is feedback as to what you're thinking. Many people have never questioned their thinking. I never used to. I just assumed I thought what I thought. And a lot of people think what they think is true, when it may be true for them, but not necessarily for anybody else. So think about it. Why do we think what we think? Why do you think what you think? Why do we think what we think? When I ask this question, I typically get an answer such as experiences. And then I'll say, what experiences specifically? Because we have a lot of experiences in life, and they all create the way we think. So, not naming them all, but just to give you a general idea of where I'm going with this, our family, the family that we are born into, is a big reason why we think what we think. Was your family supportive or not? Did they provide your basic needs or not? Or did they provide you with so much more than your basic needs? Every comfort, every emotional need was met. Families differ, so depending upon what was going on in your family, you'll think a certain way. The culture that we're born into. So were you born into a reserve culture or a demonstrative culture? Were you raised in a cold climate or in a hot climate? You know, that means you're going to have very different activities depending upon the culture and where you are in the world, the country, the location of where you are in the world. The language that you speak. Some languages read and write horizontally, right to left, others left to right. Some languages, you vertically write up and down, so I don't even know what that would be like to think vertically, because I was a horizontal right to left writer. That's how I learned to read and write. And what about grammatical gender? I mean, there's certain languages that have a grammatical element to them. So, for example, in France, in French, is wine and chocolate are masculine, whereas in Arabic, soup and the calendar year are feminine. And how about education? About 84% of the world are literate, with almost 1 billion people who still can't read. I remember I went on a bicycling trip to Morocco and we landed in Marrakesh, and if any of you ever been by the souk there, you know how fascinating it is. And outside the souk, there are snake charmers and ladies that do tattoo hennas and so on. Well, there was these men sitting there in these big black robes with big pointy hats with pallets of paper and pen, and people kept coming up to them, and I just thought they looked a bit ominous. And I said, you know, who are these people? And our guides told us that they were actually the scribes. So people that can't read and write will go to a scribe to read the letters and then to correspond and answer the letters or pay bills or whatever. So can you imagine how differently you think if you don't know how to read and write? Our health is a major reason why we think what we think. If we've had a health scare, have some sort of health issue, So a few years ago, I was skiing at Whistler, and just outside of Vancouver, where I'm originally from, and I had my worst ski accident ever. Before this time, I'd only sprained a thumb, but this time I fractured my pelvis in a number of areas. I had a lot of cracks. Thankfully, I didn't need an operation, but it's changed me. I will not ski aggressively the way that I used to. There's no way. Well, I've been there and done that aggressive skiing, and now I know that I care about my body so much that I don't want to risk that again. Other elements, media, and more these days, social media will affect the way we think, and it certainly is affecting the way people are reacting and thinking right now with COVID-19. I turn off the media a lot because so much of the news is supposed to be reporting what's actually happening, is speculation, because everybody is still speculating. And so for me, I've realized it's not good to listen to. I do listen to a bit every day to keep on top of what's going on in the world, but I'm not going to listen to it for any length of time. Whereas a friend of mine has a friend who's just kind of gone media crazy. They've locked themselves in their flat and they are watching the news 24/7. That is programming your mind for anxiety, big time. Media, our age, our sex, if we are religious or agnostic or political views, all of the socialization, everything that we get because of the spot that we were born in leads us to how we're socialized and why we think what we do. Nobody else in the world thinks like you. And many of our thought patterns are formed before we're the age of 7 by our parents and caregivers. And that's why it's common to see patterns of behavior happen in families over generations, because we are like, when we're under 7, we're like the little ducklings that follow behind our big caregiver parent ducks, just trying to find our way, trying to learn how to think, trying to become consciously aware, figure this whole world out. So we take on our family's patterns of thinking. Now, beyond all that, we are bombarded with information on a daily basis. The human brain takes in about 11 million pieces of information per second. Consciously, we can process about 40 pieces per second. If we were even trying to perceive more than that, I don't know, I think my mind would blow up. So we receive information through our senses, through our eyes, what we see in the world, through what we hear, what you're hearing now, for example, hopefully you're still listening to my workshop, through what we feel, through what we smell and what we taste. So visually, auditorily, kinesthetically, olfactory, and gustatory, those senses take in the information that is out there in this space that we call Earth. And because our conscious mind can't handle 11 million pieces at once, what we do is our minds delete, distort, and generalize the bits of information to put it more compact so we know what we can absorb unconsciously. And we all do that a little bit differently. A person who learned to play a musical instrument when they were young would be far more tuned into receiving information and learning from an auditory perspective because they're tuned into their ears. If you were maybe raised in a touchy-feely family, well then you are more comfortable with learning things kinesthetically. So there's many elements as to why we think what we think. And what it means is this: your perception of life is very different than mine, than hers, than his. Okay? We all perceive the world differently, and we all think very differently. And what's important to know is just because we learn to think a certain way, it doesn't mean that we can't learn to think a better way. If we want to change, What is more important than our socialization is the desire to change. We create our lives through focus and managing our thoughts by paying attention to how we feel. I'm going to say that again. We create our lives through focus and managing our thoughts by paying attention to how we feel. So to make some room for positivity, we are now going to do a short visualization to focus our minds to learn how to rid ourselves of negative thinking, so that going forward, when you have a negative thought, you're going, okay, I'm programming my brain incorrectly, I'm programming my unconscious to make me feel bad, you can stop that negative thought in its tracks. Now close your eyes, and closing our eyes helps us utilize our imagination the most. I'll preface this exercise by saying it may seem silly, but it works. This I know for sure. I've used this method hundreds of times to quash negative thoughts. So follow along and flex your imagination, and remember, the unconscious mind doesn't know what's real or imagined, so imagine well. This exercise helps us cut the thought pathway in our brains that has helped us create the negative thought habit. So please pick a negative thought that you have regularly. For the purposes of this exercise, choose a thought that's not earth-shattering, but something run-of-the-mill, such as, I'm not good at singing, or my ears are too big. Okay, everyone have their thought? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nothing much and 10 being severe, how would you rate that negative thought? And a thought at the level of 5 or 6 would be ideal for today's exercise. When you've done this a few more times, you can then work on some of the bigger stuff with the more emotion attached to it. So with that thought in your mind, think about where in your head you have negative thoughts. Where's that voice in your head? For me, my negative self-talk is located on the right side of my head and in the front. So think about where you feel your negative self-talk voice. Where is it in your head? Or some people, it's not in their head. Perhaps you feel it somewhere else in your body, and that's perfectly normal. There's no wrong way of doing this. And when you've located the thought, I want you to turn the voice into a funny cartoon character or silly voice, so it's hard to take it seriously. So turn the voice into a funny cartoon character or silly voice, so it's hard to take it seriously. And personally, I use Bugs Bunny because I love him. Anyway, use the voice that works for you. Secondly, now change the tone and rhythm of the voice. If the voice is high-pitched, take it low. If it's a slow voice, speed it up, change the cadence. So change the tone and rhythm of the voice. High-pitched to low or low to high, just opposite. And if it's a speedy voice, take it slow and vice versa. Change the cadence, the tone and rhythm of the voice. Now override the voice with music, your favorite song or favorite band or instrumental. If it helps, visualize turning up the volume on whatever device you're hearing the music to almost drown out that silly voice. Now turn the voice that's speaking away from you. Turn that funny voice with a tone and rhythm that is no longer familiar, almost drowned out by music, as speaking away from you. Now move it outside of your body, above your head, to the right or left, or in front or behind your bodice. Wherever it is, ensure it's outside of your body. Imagine having a slingshot. It's a giant slingshot. Place that silly voice that's now outside of your body in the sling, and with all of your might, pull back the sling. Pull it back further, a little further, all the way back, and then boom, let it go. Propel that negative self-talk into the distance as far as you need it to go. Halfway around the world, or to Mars, or to the bottom of the sea, propel that voice as far as you need it to go. And now open your eyes. Okay, so repeat that exercise for 21 days and you'll create a thought habit. So I've done it so many times because I work on my thinking all the time. So I've caught myself so many times that now I don't have to go through each step of silly voice, changing the cadence, whatever. My mind just kind of goes whoop and it's gone. So recently I was swimming away and I found myself having a negative thought and I went, I don't want to be thinking that. And whoop, it was gone. And just so you know, this workshop is located on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So if you need to revisit the steps, you can do it there anytime at your leisure. And my YouTube channel is called Awaken to the Best You. There are other simple ways to overcome negative thinking and just feeling low and move into a high performance state. And these are things in our everyday lives. So something like listening to music, putting on your favorite song, your favorite band. I do this regularly when I cook. I just automatically, there's certain music that I listen to that moves me from a low mood to a good mood. It's a great antidote. Exercise, for sure. It's a release of endorphins, and there's nothing like exercise to make us feel better. Get out in the fresh air if we can, and just do some sweating and feel good about ourselves. For some, a bath is great. I love it. An Epsom salt bath. But bubble baths are fab with candles, and again, having some nice music in the background, a nice cup of tea. Making love is an absolute way to make yourself feel better. I don't think I need to say anything more there. Dancing, for sure, absolutely. Moving around. I mean, if you enjoy dancing, these things that I'm talking about, you have to enjoy. So whatever you enjoy, and joy brings you joy, so do them and do more of them. Breathing and breathe. Absolutely. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And I think there's plenty of practitioners in this workshop that can help you with that. But very quickly, a great one when feeling anxiety or fear is to breathe in on the count of 4. Hold for 4. 3, 4. Out for 4. 3, 4. And hold for 4. It's called box breathing. It helps greatly. I have a little rock that I got in a meditation class. I keep it on my desk. It says, just breathe, as a reminder to go. I had a yoga teacher. Every class, she would say 40 sighs every day. 40 sighs to let out all the stress. I am being breathed. My body is being breathed. You betcha it is. Travel, well, yes, but we can't right now. So how about planning a trip? Because this too shall pass. I don't think it's going to be too much longer before a number of us will be able to travel. Maybe not where we want to go, but we'll have to compromise. So planning a trip, traveling, taking us out of our day-to-day, it's a great way to feel better. And if it has to be local, we'll go for a picnic or go for a swim in the sea, whatever toots your horn. Practicing gratitude. I remember years ago I was watching Oprah Winfrey and she was talking about gratitude. That was kind of a low time of my life, divorced. So I got my gratitude journal and I wrote in it every day, and I just couldn't understand. It didn't work for me. I didn't get it. But what I didn't understand was practicing gratitude is one way to train your brain to go from here to there, to look for possibilities instead of problems. But every day when I wrote in my gratitude journal, I just thought about the problems because I didn't realize, no, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be looking around for what I'm grateful for. And whenever I do feel a little bit in a slump, I always go back to regular gratitude every morning at a certain time to help rewire my brain. So recognizing negative cues is really important. So for smokers, finishing a meal typically is a trigger for them to want to smoke, or perhaps you sit in a particular chair, or you have sat in a particular chair in a particular room when you felt really sad, and maybe you've lost someone or lost a job and you're grieving. And you go back to that area every day, and you know what? You're probably feeling bad as you sit in that chair. So the thing to do is to get rid of that chair or change that room up, redecorate it, switch chairs up, paint the walls. But as long as you're not feeling, if you're feeling a negative, avoid that negative area of the house. Because when we change our focus, we change our lives. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for one last time while I guide you through a meditation to obtain clarity and focus on the future of your dreams. The past is the past. And where you need to spend your time, where you need to spend your dreaming time, is on the future, to program your unconscious mind to get to work to achieve your future vision. So now I'm going to have a conversation with your unconscious mind. Be comfortable in your chair. Get into a chair. I would say don't lie on the ground for this. It's a bit of a longer visualization. Don't lie on the ground because I don't want you falling asleep. I want you in that theta, however you pronounce it, state, where it's kind of, you feel like you're daydreaming. So sit in a comfortable chair with your hands and legs uncrossed where you won't be disturbed, and enjoy. Okay, as before, please close your eyes and creatively explore in your mind's eye what might make your future even more perfect than today. This is your personal dream. We are about to daydream, and all you need to do is relax and release the creativity inside of you. Use your imagination to the fullest. Imagine you have a blank canvas and you can paint any kind of future you want, turning that blank canvas into a glorious painting full of color. Now, I'd like you to choose a time frame of 5 years from now. And 5 years from now, I'd like you to pick a context for the vision of your future. It can be your whole life or any aspect of it, such as work, family life, leisure pursuits, whatever you feel is important to work on now. There's no need to get caught up in the practical content of how anything will happen. Just let your imagination flow like you used to do when you were a child. And as you sit there, take a few deep breaths and get in touch with your body. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And again, a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And once more, deep breath in and deep breath out. And in your own time, allow your breath to come back to normal. Become aware of your legs against the chair, or perhaps your feet are on the floor or dangling from your chair. Feel the clothing against your skin, the temperature of the room, and any tension you may have in your body, and just let it go and begin to relax. Relax the muscles around your eyes. It's easy to do when they're closed. Relax your jaw. Relax your hands. Ease off the muscles in your neck and let your jaw relax a little more. Let your shoulders soften with each out-breath. Let your entire body relax a little more from your head to your toes until any tension is released. And begin to pay attention to your breathing. Just let go and relax and take in all the sensations around you. Today you find yourself in nature, in a beautiful mountain meadow in the warm summer sun. Here you can hear birds, see all the colorful wildflowers. Perhaps they're yellow, perhaps they're blue. I don't know. And here you feel the warm, at just the perfect temperature, sun on your body as the rays of sunlight caress your body. You feel more relaxed. And perhaps you see rabbits scampering across the meadow. In the distance is the cute face of a fawn making their way into the forest that surrounds this special spot, as the birds sing their song from the trees over there. Here you don't have a worry in the world. Here there are no demands, no dangers, no anxiety. And now notice your breathing as you imagine yourself in this beautiful meadow, the gentle rise and fall that happens all by itself. As you focus your attention on your breathing, becoming even more still. Now my voice will go with you as you relax, and here you don't have to make any effort at all. Just simply let go. Take a few moments and think about 5 years from now, what would you like more of? And place it on the canvas of your life. People, places, stuff, recognition, love, power. 5 years from now, what would you like more of? Five years from now, what do you want less of? What do you see, hear, feel, and know that you want less of in your life? Shrink it down and slingshot it out of your future. It's not going to be on your canvas. What do you want less of? 5 years from now, what would you like to be best known for? Being a parent, or for your work, or a great partner, an artist, or perhaps you want to be known for something like your kindness or your innovation. What would you like to be best known for? Now consider what is most gratifying to you about the choices you've made to get to your future. Did your choices take courage? Did your choices follow a calling? What choices are you grateful for? In your ideal world, 5 years from now, what does your typical week look like? Who's there with you? Where are you? What are you doing? What do you hear? How are you feeling? What does Monday look like? Tuesday, all the way through Sunday. What does your week look like? In your ideal world, 5 years from now, what does a typical week look like? finally, distill it further. In your future vision, ask yourself, what does your perfect day consist of? What is the first thing you do when you wake up? What's your favorite breakfast? Or perhaps you don't eat breakfast? What are you smelling in the kitchen? Coffee? Or perhaps you've gone for a run outside in the fresh air, I don't know. All the way to the end of your day, as you slip into bed from morning to night, create your perfect day. In your future vision, what is essential that you retain? What is in your life now that must be in your future for you to be living your passion? What is essential you keep in your life? In your future vision, what is essential that you retain? Now I invite you to capture your experience as if you're in a movie of your life having fun. What will help you to keep hold of this experience consciously for the future? Now act as if this dream has already happened, and you look back. What do you notice? There you are in your mind's eye 5 years from now, and you're looking back, you've attained your dream. What do you notice? Visit your beliefs. What do you believe or need to believe to make this happen? What is it like to believe in yourself 120%? What are the possibilities here? You are beginning to realize that the final choice as to how you're going to feel in any situation is always yours. No one can make it for you. No one does anything to you. It is your choice as to whether you're going to allow others to control your life in any way, shape, or form. It is your choice, not theirs. You are unique as a person. You are one of a kind. You will find that people may do what you do, but no one can do anything. No one can ever do it the way you do things. You are and have been very special from birth, and there's no reason in the world to doubt your individual value at any point in your life. Enjoy that feeling. It's real. Underneath all the chatter, you are pure potential. Failure does not exist. There's no such thing. Only your degree of success ever needs to be measured by you. And even your smallest degree of success is a seed for the future. It will grow with any attention at all that you give it. Fear is always a fantasy. Success is always real and tangible. You alone are going to decide which choice to make. Relax now and remember, if I would, I could. I would is a dream, and a very good dream. If I could is a search for a plan or way to make it happen for yourself. I can is the harmony of all the feelings and thoughts that make your life happen on purpose, successfully. I will. I can. When you hear my voice, relax. Let it feel good. Believe it. Don't waste my time or yours. Make it happen. Make your life happen on purpose. Each and every suggestion you've heard me utter will register deep within you. And now that you've had time to explore your fabulous future, what is one first step that you can take today that will impact your future? What will you do that leads you to your dream, based on everything you've seen, heard, and felt in your future vision? What is one first step you will take today to propel you onward to your future vision? And in a moment, not now, when you know what your step is, you can open your eyes and come back to the room, but no opening your eyes until you know your first step. One step that you can take today towards your future vision. Just one first baby step that you can take today. And when you're ready and know your first step, you can open your eyes and feel free to stretch and walk around the room before coming back to your seat. And I recommend that you write down your first step and even say it out loud, because when we write it and say it, we own it. And I want you to own it. What is that first little step that you can take today towards the future of your dreams? And as you consider your first step, think about what will happen when you do it. What will happen when you do your first step? What will happen if you don't do it? What won't happen if you do? And what won't happen if you don't? You can enhance your focus even further by creating a vision board, and I'm sure many of you have. By creating a vision board of what you just imagined would be very powerful. And there's a couple ways you can do this. We can get a piece of cardboard and cut out pictures and photographs and words. Words are powerful. Images, things that you like, and put them on, glue them onto that board. Or some people, and it might be easier today, to do it and put it on your laptop and just make a collage on your laptop. I say it might be easier to do it that way today because oftentimes there will be on people's vision boards who like to travel. They want to go to the travel agent and get catalogs and whatnot, but that's not so easy today. So I've even had some clients who painted it and drawn it. But any way you need to do it, do your vision board. And then you can put it in your office or on your desktop or on your fridge, somewhere that you will see it every day. So it's a tool for your conscious mind to go, oh yeah, look at all those elements in my vision board. And train your unconscious to get to work and start focusing on the elements in your vision board that you want. And the thing about a vision board, I think it's such a great tool. Well, because they work, always work for me. But besides that, they're a great tool because they help us not only focus, but they get us very clear on understanding what we value. And our values are our GPS, our inner guidance system. When we live our values, we live in flow. Anytime that you felt in the state of flow, you've been living your values. So things feel good when we're in the state of flow. But when we don't feel good, typically you've rubbed up against a value of yours. So that's why you're feeling bad. You're doing something that is not in keeping with your values. And when we follow our values, we experience an improvement in the way we feel. We experience improvement in our lives. knowing your values is knowing what's important to you. And we're not content until we have a life that we hold things near and dear. We are not content until we're actually living our values. Now, the same value can mean different things to different people. So if I value money, it may be because with the money, I have the freedom to do certain things. So money is the means value to the end or core value of freedom. Or someone else may value money because they see it as a means for power, power being the end value. There's no right or wrong in values, and there's no planning. We can start living our values now. And when we do, we stop living our oughts and shoulds. That's when we're living someone else's values to please them. And there's a lot of people pleasers in the world, and I've certainly done this before. I've done things that I didn't necessarily feel good about, but thought I should do because I hadn't done my values work. And when we live our values, we know we're on our path. We're on the right path for us. It's like we're moving in the direction that's important to us. It's like, I know I'm headed to France. So goals could be the posts along the way, the signposts along the way. But France is the end game. In other words, so if I value health, I may choose to run a marathon. That marathon is a goal that's in keeping with my value of health. Values are so important to understand and for us to understand our own values and what makes us tick. Our values are our rudder of our boat. So when we're all of a sudden hit by a wave or two, boom, 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 we won't flail into the rocks because we'll use our rudder to steer us through to the direction of our dreams. I hope you found this workshop useful. And if you'd like to get in touch with me or learn more about how I can be of help for you, you can do so by going onto my website, www.pamelapitcher.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And ciao for now. Hope to see you again soon.